Hi guys, I'll be basically solving the official college board tests. This is the digital SAT test number 4. I'll be just solving the two math sections. So we are here with the first math section, the section 1. So I'll take you through the actual solving, live solving of this entire set, module 1 and 2 of the math section. Okay, so that you can have an idea like how you are supposed to solve, and maybe while solving, if you see the ways I'm solving, maybe you can pick up some of the faster ways of solving as well. So let us start. All right. So the first one is pretty simple. So here it is saying if x is 7, what is the value of x plus 20? So that's obviously 27. Next. So it says x has the data 59913 and y has another set of data. And saying which of the following correctly compares the mean. Okay, you have to compare the mean. Does not mean that you start calculating the mean immediately. Observe that the values of x are 59913. Y also has 59913. Now, if you look clearly, the average of 59913 is definitely less than 13, right? It's somewhere in between. Not interested in what the value is. So when you add a new number 27, which is way bigger, it is way bigger than the actual mean. It's bound to pull the mean up. So data set Y will have a higher mean. Okay. So the mean of X is less than Y. So we don't really need to calculate anything, right, for this. All right. Next one. The right triangles are similar. P corresponds to S. Q corresponds to T. And obviously, because R is already equal to U shown there. Okay. So if the measure of Q is 18, they're asking what is S. So Q is 18 means T is 18, right? So if I just were to show this is 18, that means this is also 18. Now, if that is true, then this must be 180 minus the sum of these two, which basically comes down to 90 minus 18. Okay. 180 minus 90 is 90 minus 18. So 72. So next, a rocket contained 467,000 kilograms of propellant. Okay. 21 seconds after launch, this remained. So they are saying how much did it burn each second? Okay. And look at the answer choices. It's 5,000 around, 17,000, 40,000, and 100,000, right? So if I were to compute, so 467,000 minus 362,105. If I ignore this also, okay, this is say this is 362,000, right? So this would be what? So 105,000. See, I am making a approximation here. I just reduce the 100, right? If I have an error of 100 and I have to divide that by 21 seconds after doing this, then 21 by 100 by 21 would give me a maximum error of 5. But none of the numbers are anywhere close to like each other, right? They're very far off. So even if I make this assumption or make this approximation rather, doesn't really make a difference. So we have 105 and you have to divide by 21 because that's the rate. So that would be 5,000. So it will be just little less than 5,000. So first option. All right. Next. Here we have to solve these two. You have to find x plus y. Now, the typical approach is you solve for x, plug in, you get y, and then add x plus y. But do you realize that if you were to just simply add up these two equations, see what happens? 4x and minus 3x, if you add, you get x. The y remains. 20 minus 17 is 13. You solved. So the answer is C. If you try solving, you'll get the same. See, 4x is 20, so x is 5. So this is negative plus y is negative 7. So y will become 8. So 5 plus 8, 13. But what's the need? You just got that in like 1 second, right? So next. The certain apprentice has enrolled in 85 hours of training courses. Okay. This equation is given. So 85 represent hours. That's very clear here. Okay. Now, X is the number of on-site training courses. Y is the number of online training courses. So, if there are X courses, how does that relate to 85 hours? Only if the number that you multiplied with X is the number of hours you spent on those courses, each of them. So, for example, you have 3 on-site courses, each course 10 hours. So, you have got 30 hours there. So, the 10 and the 15 represent hours. So, now the question here, how many more hours does each online training course then take than each on-site training course? So, online training course is Y. So, it's 15 hours each. And on-site is X, so it's 10, which is 10 hours each. So, the difference is 5. So, we have to just plug in the number 5. Next, the square x has a side of 12. The perimeter of y is 2 times the perimeter of x. So perimeter is the sum of the sides. And you are saying that perimeter of y is 2 times the perimeter of x. So each side must be twice as well. So what I basically am saying is if this is, let's say, x and each side is 12, 12, 12, 12, then what you have for y is the perimeter here is 48, 12 times 4. So here the perimeter would be double of that. The perimeter of y is 2 times. So that's 96 divided by 4. So it is 24 everywhere. In short, since the perimeter is double, each side has to be double, right? So calculation was not necessary. Next, this function, something gives the number of gallons of gasoline that remains from a full gas of tank after driving m miles. So that means it is consuming consuming gasoline, and then something is left over. So that means what? The consumption would be represented by a negative sign. So this is the negative sign minus 0.05 m. So 12.1 must be what it had initially, and minus 0.05 m is basically after driving m miles, that is the total amount of gasoline used up. So that means what? For each mile, you must be using up 0.05 gallons of gasoline. See, I'm saying 12.1 was the initial value. M is the number of miles. But then I have to get it to gallons, right? So I multiplied with 0.05, which is gallons per mile. So then this product will give you what? 0.05 m gallons. So that means this much of gasoline has been used up. For every mile, therefore, you are using up this much. So the question is asking, according to the model, how many gallons of gasoline are used to drive each mile? So that's A. Next. So if this mod of this is 112, what is the value of x minus 1? Positive. So if you look carefully, you just don't start solving the whole thing, okay? 4 times, so this mod of 4x minus 4 can be thought to be, you take the 4 out, x minus 1. So 4 times mod x minus 1 is 112. So mod of x minus 1, just divide by 4, 28. So that means x minus 1 is either 28 or negative 28. We need the positive value. So that's 28. All right, next. It says the given equation relates the positive numbers b, x, and y, which is the correct expression for x. So we just need to make x the subject of this equation. So we have 1 upon 7b equals 11x over y. So multiply y on both sides. So what happens is you get y over 7b equals 11x. This y cancels out because you multiplied y. Now divide by 11 on both sides. So y upon 77b would be x. So they are saying which is the correct expression for x. So it is y upon 77b. So that is the third option. This table shows values of x and fx. Fx means y. There's a linear relationship where m is a constant. M is basically y equals mx plus c. If you know, m is the slope. Slope is calculated as change in y upon change in x. So if this is my y, and let's say this is y1, this would be x1, this is y2, and that's x2. So my slope is y2 minus y1, so 137 minus 82 upon x2 minus x1, which is 5. So if I divide, so I subtract on top, so I've got 55 upon 5, so that's 11. So the value of m is 11. Next. So this expression is bx cubed minus 11. What is the value of b? So you just simply have to subtract the two expressions. So we'll distribute the negative sign here. So 5x cubed minus 3, negative with negative becomes positive. Negative with positive remains negative. So that gives you the negative 11, and that gives you the positive 9. So 9x cubed minus 11. So the answer is for B, 9. Next. Y is bigger than 14. 4x plus y is less than 18. They are saying x and 53. So 53 is the y value. Is a solution. Which of the following can be the value of x? So since y is bigger than 14 and 53 is given, so it satisfies this. This is not a problem. You have to just think of this. So if I plug in 53, so we have got 4x plus 53 less than 18. So 4x is less than 18 minus 53. So that will give me 4x is less than negative 35. So that means x is less than negative 8.75. It's just not 9 basically. It's just less than 8 point something. They're saying which of the following can be the value of x. So which of these is less than 8 point something? A is less than 8 point something. These are all greater than. So answer is A. They're saying which of the following can be the value of x. Next, bacteria growing in a liquid growth medium. There are 300,000 cells per milliliter initially, and it doubles every 3 hours. How many will be there? 15 hours. So don't need to use any formula or anything. Okay. This is basically exponential, but then we still simply calculate. Start with 3. Just remember that we have got 5 zeros after that. We'll add it later. So you initially have 3, and it doubles every 3 hours. So 3 hours later, you have 6. Then 3 hours later means 6 hours total. You have doubled. Then another 3 hours, you have doubled. Then you have another 3 hours, you have doubled. And finally, another 3 hours, you have doubled. See, 3 will become 6, then 12, 24, 48, and then 96. We have got 15 hours. So 15 hours after the initial observation, there should be 96, and add those 5 zeros. So option D. Okay, so here it says the graph gives an estimated number of catalogs, Y. So Y is catalogs, and X represents the number of years since the end of 1992, where X is between 0 to 10. Means the 0 represents the year 1992. 0 years since the end of 1992 would basically mean it is 1992, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and so on. So let us look at the answer choices. What are they saying? The total number of catalogs the company sent to its customers during the first 10 years was 9,000. So this Y is in thousands. They're saying that the total sent in these 10 years was 9,000. The first 10 years, so that means we'll start from 1, right? Because 0 to 10 is basically 11 years. So the first 10 years will start from the first value. So the first value itself is 9,000. Okay, the first value alone is 9,000. The second value itself is 6,000. Then at 2 it is 4,000. So even if I take the next 2 years, then also it has exceeded 9,000. So obviously the first one is wrong because the total is not 9,000 definitely. Okay, much more than that. Next, it's saying the estimated total number of catalogs it's sent from the end of 92 to the end of 2002 was 90. So let us first jot down what the years are. So this is 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 99, then 2000, then 2001, 2002. Now it's saying the total number of catalogs it sent from 1992 end to the 2002 end. So let us check 1992 end. So that means from here, it's starting off with 9, right? So it's starting off with 9. So that alone is 9,000. So total number of catalogs, since it is categorized as thousands, so obviously it cannot be option B. It's just saying 90. Number C, it says the estimated number of catalogs the company sent to its customers at the end of 1992 was 9. Now again, 9 is not possible because the data itself is in thousands. So that's again ruled out. And at the end of 1992 in option D, it says it was 9,000. So at the end of 1992, it was actually 9,000 because the graph meets the y-axis at 9, which is basically the 9,000 point. Hence, option D is correct. Now, what is equivalent to this? Okay, so this basically we can group. So we have got x to the power 9, y to the power 9, and root of that, which is basically xy whole to the power 9, the seventh root of that, which basically is xy whole to the power 9 whole raised to 1/7, the seventh root. The powers would get, exponents would get multiplied. You will have x over x times y over 9 by 7. That's the x times y powered to the power of 9 over 7. So that is option B. The population of A increased by 7%. In 2016, the population is K times. So that means 7% increase means what? The population in 2016 is 107% of the population in 2015. 107% basically means 107 over 100 times the population of 2015. Clearly, this is 1.07. So the answer is C. Just 2016 is 1.07 times that of 2015. Which of the following has no solution? To have no solution, the equations should represent parallel lines. Okay. So x equal to 3 and y equal to 5. X equal to 3, y equal to 5 are perpendicular lines. They will have a solution. Y equals 6x plus 6. Y equals 6x plus 6 and y equals 5x plus 6 are basically two lines with differing slopes and the same intercept. So that intercept itself is the solution. Y equals 16x plus 13 and 16x plus 19 are basically two parallel lines because the slope is the same and hence they will have no intersections. So there is no solution. So the answer is C. Next, the first term of a sequence is 9. Each term after the first is 4 times the preceding term. So we just have to keep on generating the terms. So the first term is 9. Then each term after the first is 4 times. So 9 times 4. Then 9 times 4 squared. You just keep on multiplying 4 basically. 9 times 4 cube and so on. So if W is the nth term, for example, if it is the second term, then it is 9 times 4 raised to 1. If it is the third term, it is 9 times 4 raised to 2. So if it is the nth term, it should be 9 times 4 raised to n minus 1. It's always 1 less. See, third term, 1 less. Second term, 1 less. Nth term, 1 less. So 9 times 4 to the power n minus 1. So that is option D. Or you can just plug in n to be 1 and check which one gives you 9. Because for n as 1, we get the first term, which is 9. Only the last option will give you w as 9, because 4 to the power 1 minus 1 will become 1. The minimum value of x. So x is 12 less than 6 times. Okay. So they're saying which inequality shows possible values of x. So the minimum value is this. Okay. X minimum is this. That means the values of x, other values, other possible values will be greater than this. So x should be greater than 6n minus 12, greater than or equal to, because it can reach this equality, right? The minimum value means it can attain that minimum value. The minimum value attained is 6n minus 12. So other values are greater. So all possible values would be x is greater than or equal to 6n minus 12. So option B. So there is some triangle. There is a right angle triangle. Now, obviously, the right angle would be opposite to the longest side. Here, the longest side is TR. So that's the hypotenuse. So that means S must be the right angle. So RS is 20, ST is 48, this is 52. Now RST is similar to another triangle UWV. S corresponds to V, okay? T corresponds to W. So obviously U would be the corresponding point for R. They're asking what is tan of W. So to find tan of W, it's as good as finding tan of T. So tan of T would be opposite over adjacent. So that is 20 upon 48. Because they are similar, so tan of W is equal to tan of T. So instead of working with this triangle, I'll just work with this triangle. So 20 over 48, that's 4 cancels, 5 over 12. So that's option B. The graph 9x minus 10y equal to 19 is translated down 4 units. So to solve such questions, we need to express the line in the form y equal to mx plus c. So we'll have negative 10y equals negative 9x plus 19, which basically boils down to y equals 9 over 10x minus 19 upon 10. Now, when you translate it down by 4 units, so if this is, let's call it fx. So translating it down would make it a new function gx to be fx minus 4. So fx minus 4, so the new y would now become 9x over 10 minus 19 over 10 minus 4. Now we're asking for the x-intercept. So x-intercept means the point where y is 0. You just plug in y is 0. So 0 equals 9x over 10 minus 19 over 10 minus 4. So taking the constant terms to the other side, we have 9x over 10 equals 19 over 10 plus 4, which is, if you take the LCM, 19 plus 40, so that is 59 over 10. So 9x upon 10 is 59 upon 10. So x is 59 over 9. So we'll just plug in 59 over 9. So we are done with this section. We'll move on to the next section. All right. So expecting to get a set of harder questions. So this is saying there are 55 students in a club. A sample of the Spanish club students was selected at random and asked whether they intend to enroll in the new program of those surveyed. So a sample was taken, then 20% responded that they intend to enroll. Based on this survey, which of the following is the best estimate? So if you have randomly selected, it's given, whatever is true for the sample is also true for the main population. So 20% of 55, so that is 1/5. 20% of 55 is basically 20 over 100 of 55, which is basically 1/5 of 55. So 11 is your answer. So option A. A machine makes large boxes or small boxes one at a time for a total of 700 minutes each day. So in a day, it works for 700 minutes and makes some large boxes or some small boxes. It takes 10 minutes to make a large box, 5 minutes to make a small box. So large box takes 10, small box takes 5. X large boxes would take 10x. Y small boxes would take 5y. So 10x plus 5y should be a total of 700. So 10x plus 5y is 700, option B. The scatter plot shows a relationship between x and y. The line of best fit is also shown. Which of the following is the equation of the line of best fit? So instead of trying to deduce the line of best fit equation, I'll just pick some points through which the line passes. Okay, so one such point is here. So we have x is 2 and y is 12. First of all, this is a negative slope, right? We can in fact start with that. This is a negative slope line, sloping negative. So that means the answer has to be either B or D. It can't be A or C. Now for both B and D, if you look carefully, the slope is the same. You don't even need to do this actually. So the slope is the same, negative 0.8, negative 0.8. But for B, the y-intercept is a positive quantity, and for D, it is a negative quantity. Clearly, from the graph, the y-intercept is a positive quantity. It is somewhere between 13 and 14. So it has to be something positive. So answer must be B. You don't even need to plug in values. Okay. So we are done with this. Next, the point with coordinates d comma 4 lies on the line. What is the value? So just plot it. So x is d and the y value is 4. So from y, you draw a line straight, intersect somewhere here. That should have been the answer. Unfortunately, we can't read it. It's somewhere between 3 and 4. This is also between 3 and 4. This is also between 3 and 4. So we are not able to decide from the graph itself. So what we will have to do is solve the equation. So how do we solve the equation? We know that this is 7 and we know that this is 8. So the point somewhere is d comma 4. So the slope must be the same for all of these lines, for whichever points you take. So if I consider these 2 points, this and this, my slope is 7 minus 4 over 0 minus d. That should be the same as the slope for these 2 points. Okay. We will not again use d4 and 80 because then I'll get an equation and then I have to solve the equation. I'll just take a number quickly. So 7 minus 0 over 0 minus 8. So that gives you basically 3 over negative d equals 7 over negative 8. Multiply negative 1 on both sides, it's gone. Cross multiply the d on this side, bring the 7 down. So you have 3 over 7 equals d over 8. Now multiply the d on this side by cross multiplying. You have d over as 24 by 7. So 24 by 7 is option C. Next, some values of x and y are given here for the quadratic function. That is important. What is the function? So they are asking what is the function. So as you can see, at -1 the value is 10, at 1 the value is 20, and at 0 the value is 14. So what do we understand from this? The value at 0 is higher. The value at 1 is the highest. Okay, so for every 1 increase, sorry, at 1 it is 20, not 10. Sorry, I read it wrong. So here it increases by 4, then it increases by 6, and so on. So one way of doing this is we can just plug in the values here without doing much. Okay. So at 0, it has to be 14. So all of them satisfy that because all of them have y-intercept 14. So this is kind of useless. If I plug in -1 and try to get to 10, okay, quickly. So plug in -1 here. So we'll have 3 times -1 square plus 3 times -1, which cancels out. So you will be left with 14 again, which is not true. This will be 5 times -1 squared -1 plus 14. So this would be 14 plus 4, that's say 18, which is not really what we want. This one is 9x squared minus -1. So that kind of gives you 9 plus 1, 10. So 24. By elimination, it has to be D. Let's just cross check it once. So x squared, 5x, 5 times -1 plus 14. So that would give you -4 plus 14. So that's 10, which is matching. So answer is option B. Number 6, the function is defined by this. F of A is 10. So FA would be A plus 15 over 5. And that is 10. So A plus 15 is 50. So A will be 50 minus 15. So that's 35. So option C. Okay, here the M and N are parallel lines. So that means X and Y are equal and Y plus Z must be 180 because they are on the same side and between the two parallel lines. So they must be adding up to 180. Or you can also see that this is Z. So this is also Z here. Obviously, Y and Z make a straight line. So Y plus Z is 180. So whichever way it works. Now X is given, Y is given. Now, as I said, X is the same as Y. So if X and Y are the same, we just can equate these two. So we'll just write 6K plus 13 equals 8K minus 29. So this goes there, this comes here. So this side 8K minus 6K. So 2K would be 29 plus 13. So that's 42. So K is 21. Now if K is 21, so we can figure out either of them. So let's find out what is X from this. So X would be 6 times 21 plus 13. So that is 126 plus 13. So 139. We already said that Y and Z will add up to 180, but means X and Z will add up to 180. So therefore, the value of Z would be 180 minus 139. So that is 41. So that's option C. Next, the line P is defined by something. R is perpendicular. What's the slope? So here the slope is y equals, so 2y equals negative 18x plus 9. So y equals negative 9x plus something. So the slope here is negative 9. Perpendicular line, the slope has to be 1 over 9. So that product of the slopes is negative 1. So the answer is C. Next. A sample oak has density of 8 or 7 kilograms per cubic meter. The sample is in the shape of a cube. Each edge has a length of 0.9 meters. So that means this. So the nearest whole number, what is the mass of this sample? So that means this has a volume of 0.9 cube, meter cube. So zero point 0.9 cube. So 9 squared is 81. 9 cube is 729. So it would be 0.729 meter cube. And the density is 807. So 807 kilograms per meter cube. If you multiply that with 0.729 meter cube, you will get 807 times 0.729 kilograms. And that's what we want. So if you look at the options again, this is in the 600s, 700s, 900s, 1100s. So we can approximate this is 800 times 0.7. So it's around 560. So which is close to 560. So that has to be option A. Next, number 10. The function P models the population in thousands of a certain city T years after 2005. According to the model, the population is predicted to increase. So this is T years. T is mentioned here. You can see that T years after 2005. So that means 1 year after 2005, the value would be 290 times 1.04 to the power 4 over 6. 2 years would be to the power 8 over 6, and so on. So T years after 2005, according to the model, the population is predicted to increase by n% every 18 months. So 18 months is 1.5 years, right? How do you get that? 18 over 12, because 12 months make a year. So that's 1.5 years. So if I had T as 1.5, so what would have happened? So that means in the year 1.5 years after 2005, okay? So that would be 290 times 1.04 raised to the power 46 times 1.5. Now 1.5 times 4 is 6. 6 over 6 is 1. So it would be 290 times 1.04 to the power 1. Right? Why did I plug in 1.5 in the first place? Because that's what they're asking, right? That after 18 months, what will happen? So after 18 months or after 1.5 years, I ended up getting this value. Clearly, 290 is the initial value, which is getting multiplied with 1.04 means it has become 104%. Implies that there is a 4% increase. So the question is, increase by n%, what is n? So n is 4%. So that is option C. The calculation here, I'll just show you 4 over 6 times 1.5. If you want to check that, times 1.5, I said 4 times 1.5 is 6. 6 over 6 is 1. Okay. And that's how we got this one here. So answer is option C. Next. So there's some equation given. No, don't waste time in reading that. In the given equation, k and a constant, n is bigger than 1. The equation has no solution. Okay, so we'll just use the rule for no solution. What was the rule? If I have an equation of this type, m1x plus c1 equals m2x plus c2, basically both I have written in the form of y equals mx plus c, the slope intercept form. So in this case, if there is no solution, it would mean parallel line. So that would mean m1 equals m2 and c1 not equals c2. So here we'll need to express both sides in that form. Look, this is already in that form, mx plus c. But this one is kind of not. So we need to just rearrange and distribute the 2 and see what I got we get. So 2kx minus 2n is negative 28 over 15x minus 36 upon 19. Now we have mx plus c and this side mx plus c. So m's must match. So that means your 2k must be equal to minus 28 over 15. So your k has to be negative 14 over 15. That is your answer. So now negative 14 over 15 is most likely not going to fit in here. So if I try to do that, negative 14 over, no, it does. So we have the answer, negative 14 over 15 as our answer. If it did not fit, like let's say it stops, space is over after 1, then you have to calculate in decimal and write the answer. Okay. So I'll just repeat that. So this is no solution. That means the slopes must be the same. So here it is 2k. That should be 28 over 15 negative. So that's k is negative 14 over 15. We are not really interested in n. We know that n is not equal to 2n is not equal to 36 over 19. That's it. but that's not what we are interested in anyways. Next, a gift shop buys souvenirs at a wholesale price of $7 each, resells them at a retail price that is 290% of the wholesale price. So buy $7, sell 2.9. So 290 over 100 times 7. So 2.9 times 7. At the end of the season, any remaining souvenirs are marked at a discounted price that is 80% off the retail price. Okay. So the retail price, this is the wholesale price, mind it. This is the retail price, RP. The discount of 80% is given on the retail price, not on the $7. Okay. So for the remaining, the discounted price DP is 2.9 times 7 times 80% off. So that means you give away 80%. So you're left with the remaining 20%. So it is 0.2 times because 20% is basically 20 over 100, which is basically a 0.2. So the discounted price is what they want. So this would be, now you have to do an exact calculation. So 2.9 times 7. So 22.03. Okay. Sorry, 20.3. My bad. 20.3, 2.9 times 7. Multiply that with 0.2. So that would be 406. Decimal place here. So $4.06. So we'll just write that 4.06. All right, in the given equation, C is a constant. The equation has no real solutions. If C is greater than N, what is the least value of N? So we'll just figure out what's the condition for no real solutions. B squared minus 4, A is 1, C is less than 0. B squared minus 4AC is less than 0. So that would give me 4C goes that side bigger than 34 times 34. So C is bigger than 289. 17 squared, 289. So they are saying C is bigger than N. Then the least possible value of N is what? So C is bigger than 289 is the condition that we have got. So the value of N must be 289. So for example, C is bigger than 289. A possible value could be C is 290, right? So 290 is bigger than 289. Okay. A possible value could be C equals 291. But then we can say that 291 is bigger than 290 also, right? That means you can argue that why not N is 290 or 292, that means it's 291. So it could be 291. But then we are looking at a value which is the least possible value of N. The least possible value of N would be 289. So we'll just plug in 289. Dataset A consists of the heights of 75 buildings and has a mean of 32. Dataset B has a height of 50 buildings, has a mean of 62. Dataset has the total of all these buildings. What is the mean? So what is the total height of all of them in A, 75 times 32? What is the total of all the heights of set B? 50 buildings, each is 62. So 50 times 62. So this is the total height of all 125 buildings. So what is their mean? Divided by 125. So from top, if I take out 25 common, so 3 times 32 plus 2 times 62 divided by 125. 125 and 25 cancel with 5. I'm just not using a calculator. So you can always do a calculator, use it and get it done. So that's 96 plus 124 over 5. So that is 220 upon 5. So that's 44. So the answer is 44. Next, the expression this, where b is a constant, can be written in this form. What is the which of the following must be an integer? Okay. So here, if you look at the x squared term, it will be hx squared. So h is 4. It has to be. Now, if you look at the constant term, it is jk, and jk is negative 45. So j times k is negative 45. Okay. Now, if you look carefully, it's mentioned h, k, j are all integers. So k and j are integers. Okay. So if you look at the options now, b will be the middle term, but then before we get to b's, let us check what is this saying. 45 over h. Now 45 over h is not an integer because that's h is 4. What about 45 by k? So from here, can I write that j is negative 45 upon k? But k, according to this equation, according to this information, in fact, j is an integer. If j is an integer, then this 45 over k has to be an integer, right? So D is the answer. If none of them match, then we would have worked out what's the middle term, because that's going to be a little complicated, right? We have to multiply x with hx with j, and then k with x, and then sum up and do something of that. So it made sense to first check the options which we have, and then if required, we would have figured out. Okay, so what was our answer? 45 over k. So that's the fourth option. Next, y is negative 1.5 and y is this. In the sixth term, a is a positive constant, there is only one solution. So if I plug in this y here, so I'm going to get negative 1.5 equals x squared plus 8x plus a. So x squared plus 8x plus a plus 1.5 is 0. Now we can always see here that if it has to have a one single solution, that means this 8x, it must be of the form x minus something whole square equal to 0. That something will be the solution. X minus or plus, whatever. So this will be the 2 times x times that constant term. So 8x is 2 times x times 4. So x squared plus this. Plus, it has to be 4 square. Only then this will be a complete square. Okay, it has to be 4 square. Only then you will have x plus 4 whole square equal to 0. And they will get a single solution x equal to negative 4. Okay, but they're asking what is the value of a. So that means what? A plus 1.5 must be 16. So if a plus 1.5 is 16, then a must be 16 minus 1.5, 14.5. So that is the answer. Next. The data plot shows the values of 15 data points. Data B is created by adding 56 to each of the values. So that means each of these 22s will now become 78s. This will become 79s. This will become 80, 81, 82, like that. For data set B, what would compare the median and the range? So if you look carefully, since every term has increased by 56, whichever position data was there going to match, that would have also increased by 56. So the median is going to increase by 56, but the range, which is the gap, would not change. So here it was 4, here it is also 4. So the range will be the same, median will increase. So if I look at the answer choices, the range is the same. So the median is equal to median, that's wrong. Median of B is equal to A, that's wrong. Median of B is greater, yes. The range of B is equal to A. C is the correct answer. Next. The function here represents this form, and here we have graph is given. Gx is f of x plus 4. What is the equation? Now, if I look at the options. So one way of doing it is figuring out values of x and y and trying to deduce what the function is. For example, we can pick x equal to 0, f of 0 is negative, sorry, f of negative 10 is 0, 1 point, and f of maybe negative 7 is negative 2. Second point, and we'll solve for a and b, get the function fx, from there find out what is gx, and we have our answer. That is a possibility, but that's a very long approach. What can be done instead is pick a suitable point such that you can read. So here we have gx is f of x plus 4. And if I plug in, say x as -10, so g of -10 would be f of -10 plus 4, -6. And we can see -6 can be easily read from this, -3. So that means -3. So g of -10 should be -3. Now what we have to do is plug in -10 in each of these and see which one gives you that -3. This does not clearly. If I put -3 for this, I'll get 6 over -6. This would give me 6 over -10 plus 8, which is -3. But just checking this cancels out. We have 6, so that's also wrong. Answer is C. Next, this equation has A and B are positive constants, the product of the solutions. So the product of the solutions, so this is a quadratic equation. Sum A, so let's not confuse with that. A x squared plus bx plus c. If the roots are R1, R2, product of the roots R1 times R2 is a C over A, the constant over the A. So basically in this case, the product of the solutions would therefore be AB over 57. They are saying that is KAB. So that means what? AB over 57 is what? 1 over 57 times AB. And that is KAB. So that means K is 1 over, sorry, not 15. I meant to write 57. So 1 over 57 is K. So K is 1 over 57, option A. The graph of this equation is a circle in the xy plane. What is the radius? So we need to complete the square. The form is x minus a whole squared plus y minus b whole squared equals r squared. So x squared plus x means you have to do 2 times x times half to complete the square, half square. For the other one, same thing, y squared plus 2 times y times half to get y. To complete the square, add half square. These two terms you have just introduced on the left, we must introduce on the right as well. So 199 over 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4 is a half, 2 over 4, which is half. Half plus 199 over 2 comes out to 200 over 2. So that's 100. So we have x plus half whole square plus y plus half whole square equals 10 square. Radius is therefore 10. So that is the answer. Next, we have two more. The two rectangular prisms each have a height of 90. Okay, so two rectangular prisms, they look like this. They have a height of 90. The base is a square and surface area is K. The prisms are glued together along a square base. Okay, so that means you have got one more prism like this, again of height 90. So to find the side length, so let us take the sides to be x and x because that's a square. So sides will be equal. So for one of the prisms, when it is not attached, then the surface area would be the sum of all the faces. So that's, if you look, x, x, and 90. So we have the base, which is x square, on top also, so 2x squared. Then 90 by x, you have one face here, and four faces. So one on the left, one on the right, one on the front, one at the bottom. So one at the back. So 4 times 90x. So that means we have k equals 2x squared plus 360x. Now, when you have joined them, again, the surface area would be twice of the single one, so 2k. But then if you look carefully, where you have joined, there is one square face for the top prism and one square face for the bottom prism, which have been hidden from view. So we need to remove 2x squared from that. This they are saying is 92 over 47k. All right, so let's bring that k to that other side. So we have 2x squared is 92 by 47k minus 2k. So 2x squared is, my bad. I did the other way around. So it's 2k minus 92 by 47k. So 2x squared is 947 is the LCM. So 94 minus 92. So 2. So we have x squared to be, so in fact, let's put it like this. K is 47x squared. If I plug that here in the original equation that we had, so if you had plug it in here, this information, now what do we get? We're writing it here, then k is 47x squared equals 2x squared plus 360x. 2 goes that side, 45x squared is 360x. Divide 45, x squared is 8x. One solution is obviously x is 0, which is not valid. The other solution is x is 8. We can just cancel the x from both sides here because we know that since x is not 0. So the answer is 8, option B. All right. The next one. In the xy plane, a parabola has a vertex 9, comma minus 14. Okay, x is 9, y is minus 14, intersects. So something like this. We don't know where the y-axis is, so don't bother. This point is 9 minus 14. And intersects the x-axis at 2 points, means what? A must be positive. And the equation is written in this form where A, B, C are constants, which could be the value of A plus B plus C. Okay, so that is the question. Which of the following could be a value? So if I look at this, I can write my equation y to be ax minus 9 whole squared minus 14. This is equivalent to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, if you look carefully, to get a plus b plus c, I just need to simply do one thing is substitute x is 1. If I do x as 1, I get a, I get b, I get c. Now, since this is the same as this, right? Because I've just expressed in the vertex form. When I plug in x as 1 to get this, I should plug in x as 1 here also. So I should get a times 1 minus 9. So that is 64a minus 14. So 64a minus 14 is my value of a plus b plus c, and that is one of these. So it's either minus 23 or minus 19 or minus 14 or minus 12. This is giving me 64a to be minus 9. Can't be because a has to be positive. This is also giving me 64a equals minus 5, which is not possible. This is giving me 64a to be 0, which is obviously doesn't make sense. This is the only one which gives me 64a to be 2, which is positive. So a comes out to be a positive quantity. So only option D satisfies. So that is our answer. So we are done with the test. So this is the practice test 4, which I was showing. So your math score is 800. So basically all the questions were correct. Okay. Thanks for watching.